Thank you, Alexis. Well, friends, it is time for you and I to do some cooking together. So this time I have a side for you that is perfect for the fall, and it starts with a little grain called farro. You're going to learn all about it right here. Hey, welcome back to my kitchen. So today what we're gonna make together is an easy fall side. It's a warm grain autumn salad. And I'm happy to say all 7 eaters in my family love it. It starts with farro. So if you've never seen farro before, this is what it is. It's actually an Italian wheat. And if you're like me, before you go to make things like this, you wonder, am I gonna make it and no one in my family eat it? Well, I can testify to that because even the pickiest of eater who will remain nameless in my family loved this stuff. It's just all in how you make it. So the farro is pretty easy to boil, almost like you would a rice, all right? And I like to especially serve it when it is warm. That one's been sitting for a little bit, so we're just gonna put it in this bowl. It's got this chewy, nutty texture. What you wanna make sure is that you give it a good sprinkle kosher salt. Either when it's cooking and boiling or afterwards. You could cook it in chicken broth if you want. I cooked this one in water, and then we're gonna add a bunch of other delicious things inside of it, starting with roasted butternut squash and red onions. So any recipe with onions is gonna be amazing, but this is the caramelization you want on your butternut squash. And then you can see all of that yummy caramelization on the red onions. So we're gonna put that into the farro. You just toss this together. So the onions and butternut squash, I like to roast at about 425 or 450. And that way you get the good caramelization on the butternut squash. It really makes it sweet and absolutely delicious. Just give it a good sprinkle of olive oil. And now I kind of toss it into the farro. And now a few other elements. So we're gonna add to that a little bit of fresh spinach. I love throwing fresh spinach in things because all you do is open up the container and you can use it right away. It's already washed and ready to go. So we'll get the fresh spinach in there. And if your salad's warm, it is going to start to kind of wilt on its own. So you can toss that together, and that you don't even have to chop that fresh spinach. It's going to just kind of wither down a little bit all by itself, okay? So then to this, we are gonna add my favorite apples of the season. So this, you know, you've heard a Lucy Glow. This is a Lucy Rose apple. So it's a red apple with kind of like this muddled red inside. Isn't that beautiful? It's naturally that way. They're a cousin of the Honeycrisp, which you guys know, I love Honeycrisp, and I love that when you bite into them, those apple cells are so big that they just burst juice into your mouth. That's kind of the difference. So this Lucy Rose has the same quality, but it has a natural red inside, and it has it's sweet with, I'd say, a hint of berry flavor. So it goes super well in salads. I need for my knife to be sharper, but this apple's crisp, juicy, sweet, and I like just to cut it into slices. Use whatever apple you have on hand, but we're gonna cut it into slices and put it in here, mostly for that delicious flavor and that beautiful red color. Okay, now sprinkle of feta. A bite of salty feta goes so well into your fall dishes. And then toss that together. And the final thing, instead of putting any kind of a dressing or anything on this, you know what I like to do? I take a good drizzle of balsamic reduction. So balsamic reduction, you guys, is just balsamic vinegar that has been boiled, so there's nothing added. So it's naturally sweet. Balsamic vinegar comes from grapes from Modena, Italy. And so they've been just boiling down, creating this delicious glaze. Nothing else added. So I put that on top of the salad, give it another good toss. And that way you get like the sweet, salty, savory, these delicious fall flavors from the apple and the butternut squash and the onion. And it is so delicious, it's filling, it's nutritious. And like I said, everybody in my family loved it. I hope they love it in yours as well.
Wow, that looks amazing.
Does it look good?
It looked
my
tasty.
whole family sits around it. And the picky eater, my 11-year-old girl, she looks over and she goes, Mommy, were you talking about me when you said that? I said, absolutely I was. I started her out eating like avocado and quinoa when she was 2, and now she won't eat anything but carbs.
Really? Well, you know what? A girl after my own heart. I feel like every time Vanessa does these, I'm like, ooh, I'm learning something new today. So not only are we eating, but you're feeding my mind.
And I
too.
brought her the
It's good.
apples so she can try them.
I am so excited about that. My husband may or may not get that.